Once upon a time, on the outskirts of a deep dark forest, there lived a young girl and her mother. The young girl's name was Little Red Riding Hood. One fine and sunny day, Little Red Riding Hood left the small cottage to visit her grandmother, who wasn't feeling very well. Little Red Riding Hood made sure to pack lots of scrumptious treats for her grandmother. Yummy bread, cakes, and wine. Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother lived on the other side of the forest. It was a long way from home, but Little Red Riding Hood knew the way and remembered her mother's words.
Go straight to grandmother's house, always stick to the path, and don't speak to strangers.
And so, Little Red Riding Hood skipped happily into the forest with her basket of goodies. But little did she know, a creature was also lurking in the forest. A cunning, clever, crooked wolf. As Little Red Riding Hood skipped past the sly wolf, he bared his white teeth and began to speak. He startled her with his gruff voice.
Hello there.
Oh, you frightened me.
Oh, please excuse me. I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's just, my mother told me I shouldn't talk to strangers.
Oh, don't mind me. I was just admiring that basket full of lovely goodies.
Oh yes, they're for my grandmother to make her feel better.
What a lovely thing to do. How thoughtful of you. Where does your grandmother live?
Oh, not far from here, just past the fallen oak tree.
Wonderful.
Well, I better be off, Mr. Wolf. Bye.
Please pass on my best wishes to your grandmother.
I will.
The wolf watched Little Red Riding Hood skipping off into the distance. His stomach grumbled. The delicious cakes had made him feel awfully hungry. But he knew that a more delicious treat was waiting at the end of the lane, by the fallen oak tree. Grandma! The wolf quickly hatched a plan and hurried over to Grandmother's house, overtaking Little Red Riding Hood and hurrying towards the old lady's house. When Little Red Riding Hood reached her grandmother's house, she knocked on the door 3 times.
Grandma, hello, it's me.
A voice came from inside.
Oh, hello dear, let yourself in.
When Little Red Riding Hood saw her grandmother, she was shocked.
Oh, Grandma, what big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with.
What big eyes you have.
All the better to see you with.
What big teeth you have.
All the better to eat you with.
Little Red Riding Hood ran as fast as she could back through the woods. Her scream echoed through the forest, and she was heard by the local woodcutter. When he saw the wolf chasing Red Riding Hood, he took an old sack and ran after the wolf. The woodcutter eventually caught up with the big bad wolf. And trapped him inside the old sack. He tied the top, slung the bag over his shoulder, and marched the naughty wolf out of the forest. Some say the wolf was never seen again. Others say he went to a school to learn manners. But he never returned to the deep dark forest to cause any more trouble. Little Red Riding Hood was safe, but she wept for her poor granny. But just as she was beginning to fear the worst...
Granny! Oh, thank goodness.
You see, the wolf was smart, but Granny was smarter. Though she was old, her age had made her wise. She had sensed the big bad wolf, and so before he could gobble her up, she hid behind the cottage in the woods, out of sight. And so Granny was safe, and found new courage in the meantime. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother walked through the forest, never straying from the path, but stopping just once, to eat a lovely picnic. A feast of bread, cakes and wine. They never worried about the wolf again, and they lived happily ever after.
Yes, let's reflect.
Where does the story take place?
Who are the characters?
What other versions of the story have you heard?
And how could you twist the story? Make a change?